What is going on, guys? Welcome to this episode of Odds and Ends. Today I was tagged, well, not literally today, but on today's video, it's a tag video from the RetroSocialWorGameHunter. Links are in the description down below. The tag, which is going around right now, is games that you beat or games that you beat frequently, games that you beat the crap out of. I don't really know what the actual title is, but let's just get this thing going. The first game, Mega Man X. Mega Man X! I said Mega Man X! Yeah! So the first game on my list is Mega Man X for the Super Nintendo. This is actually my childhood copy, which is really cool of Mega Man X. And I just remember when we played that as a kid. Now I'm old enough to have played through the classic version NES Mega Man games. And when Mega Man X came out, man, it was kind of a big deal. It was like Mega Man on steroids. Well, we don't want to say steroids nowadays, you know what I mean? Mega Man might get busted for performance-enhancing drugs. But you guys know what I mean. The sprites were better, the sound was better, the explosions were better. The game was just better, you know? And although I'm a diehard classic guy, Mega Man X is where it's at, man. If you got to get that game in your collection if you don't. Alright, moving on. Because I could talk about Mega Man X all day. I actually did a Let's Play on the channel of Mega Man X. And I've been thinking about doing Mega Man X Maverick Hunters for the PSP. A Let's Play of that. It's basically the same game, but some of the items are moved around, and that kind of changes the order of the bosses and how you backtrack. But anyway. Alright, so moving on to my favorite system of all time, the Nintendo 64. And a game that I play a couple times a year. I always try and find different paths or beat my high score. And that is Star Fox 64. I just like the way the game is styled. You know, graphically, back in those days, that was really kind of the peak, the best it was going to get at the time that game came out. Fantastic game. It's a third-person shoot-'em-up game. I can't imagine anybody doesn't know what Star Fox 64 is. But, yeah, I play through that game a lot. And actually, I've never really even played the multiplayer, the battle mode, because I always like to just play through the game by myself. Alright, got some NES games here. A game that I played a lot when I was a kid. I love RoboCop. So we got RoboCop for the NES. I actually did a Let's Play of that on the channel. Now, the cutscenes are nice. It's graphically not bad. But I think it's a really, really cool game. I don't know what to say about it. You know, there's it gets pretty difficult at the end. You kind of really got to know what you're doing. But if you watch my Let's Play and do what I do, you're going to beat it with no problem. So, alright. This is a game that I beat probably 2 or 3 times a year. I play through it. I even have a no-death run to my name of this game right here, which is difficult to do because anything can happen in Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. And if you need some proof that I did a no-death run of that game, check this out.
I don't know who Mr. Cox and Captain Hass are, but those guys need to mature a lot.
Alright, the last game that we got going on here, definitely one of my favorite NES games that's not a Mario, Zelda, or a Mega Man game. My number one most essential NES game, Contra. Love Contra. This is the best Konami game on the Nintendo, in my opinion. So many different ways to play it. You can play it co-op, with the code, without the code, by yourself, selective weapon, you know, beating the game. All different kinds of stuff. Complete game. And graphically and auditorily, sound-wise, it's an amazing game, and it should be in every NES collection, really. Alright, so when I went to Japan, when I was stationed in Japan, I got my first PlayStation. It was the first console that I bought for myself. This game we actually played the hell of in the arcades. Came out on a lot of versions of it for the Dreamcast, the N64. It's on a couple compilation discs. But this, in my opinion, is the best version of Hydro Thunder. Love Hydro Thunder. I've played through that game so many times, I can't even count. There's a championship mode and a race mode. You can play individual races, of course. Try and get high scores, fastest times. But on the PlayStation, there's one game that I've probably played through more that's not a racing game or a sports game, because those are a little bit more easy to play through. This game actually took a little time. I remember when this game came out, everybody in the barracks went out and bought a copy. We had like 12 guys go over to the PX, and we bought every single copy of this game that they had, one for each of us, because we can't share. And that game, Metal Gear Solid. Now, if you don't know, in Metal Gear Solid, there's a couple different endings depending on what decisions you make and how you beat the game, that kind of stuff. There's also the rating system where if you get killed and set off the less alarms, you get a higher rating or something. I don't really remember how that works right now, but because it's been so long since I played it. But Metal Gear Solid, also a very affordable game, so definitely recommend that one. One of my other favorite systems, the Nintendo GameCube. Been playing a lot of this game lately. It's Samurai Jack: The Shadow of Aku. I've mentioned this in a couple of videos, but I really like the art style. I thought it did a good job of taking that classic, sort of beautiful 2D Samurai Jack cartoon and putting it into a 3D environment. The game's not perfect. It's like a 3D roaming beat-em-up type game. Kind of gets repetitive. The objectives are basically the same in every level, or every world, I should say. But it's still fun to play. And if you want to unlock all the artwork and all the hidden stuff that's on the disc, you actually have to 100% the game in easy mode, normal mode, and hard mode. So if you want to get everything, you want 100% the game, you gotta beat the game at least 3 times. All right, moving on to the PlayStation 2. Man, I've beat this game so many times. It's my favorite sports game of the newer generation, so kind of N60 or PlayStation 2 and 6th generation and newer. But it's NCAA College Football 2005 with Larry Fitzgerald. To give you an idea of how much I actually play this game, a couple of weeks ago, I won the national championship in the 2026 season. It's a 2005 game. So we've played this game at least 20 times. We've played 20 seasons of college football on that thing. Underrated game right here. I dare say hidden gem. This game is under $10 and you need to get it in your collection right now. If you're a fan of Metal Gear Solid, the third person type Metal Gear Solid, then you need to get Siphon Filter Dark Mirror in your collection immediately. Like I said, it's under $10. It's an amazing game. I love the Siphon Filter series. I've played through that game, I want to say at least 10 times, because there's always like hidden, you don't have to complete all the objectives. It's one of those types of games to win the level. So there's like hidden items that you can find, like find all hidden, letters or something. Well, you don't need to find them all to beat the level. So you can kind of go through the level and then go back and get them. And by getting that kind of stuff, you actually unlock all different types of weapons that you can upgrade with or start levels with. It's actually really cool. The first one on PlayStation is my favorite, but I've probably played through that one the most. All right, getting down to the final two, because we could be here all day with games that I beat all the time that aren't Mario, Mega Man, or Zelda games. But this game is another game that is a hidden gem that I would say that is under $15. It's a shoot 'em up. It's a bullet hell style shoot 'em up. Graphically, it's beautiful. The sound is awesome. The voice acting needs a little work, but it's Castle Shikigami 2 for the PlayStation 2. These covers are misleading. This cover in Mobile Light Force, because that doesn't really tell you what the game's about. But if you turn it over and you see all that bullet hell goodness right there, this is definitely a game that you want to get if you're a shoot 'em up fan. Even if you're a casual shoot 'em up fan, this game does something really cool where you start off with 3 continues and that's all you get. But you earn extra continues the more hours of gameplay that you go through. So by the end of 9 hours, you've got 10 credits that you can use to get through the game. And at that point, you should be familiar with the first 3 or 4 levels. And you're going to cruise through the game no problem. The tough part about that game is beating it under 1 credit. That's actually pretty tough. All right, let me grab the other game real quick. Last game that I've been playing the hell out of is Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection. Every single game on here. No, I'm just kidding. There's actually one game on here that I've been playing a lot of. I don't own a physical copy of. And to be honest with you, a physical copy complete is going to cost like $40. This whole collection costs like $20. So this is actually a great value, tremendous value, great buy. But that game is Beyond Oasis. I will be streaming that game either this week or next week. Just look for it in the videos. It's sort of like Zelda, but it's a little bit more linear. It kind of tells you where to go and what your objectives are. But it's beautiful. It sounds great. The story is actually pretty good. And I can't stop playing it because there's a lot of collectibles. A couple of the collectibles, you can only do the event once. So if you don't get that collectible the first time you do the event, then you won't get it. So you got to start over and play it again. So I'm going to get a practice run of that game in before I actually do my live stream, because I don't even remember what the controls are. But guys, that is going to do it. That is my stack of games that I beat regularly, or have beaten a lot over the years. Thank you so much for tuning in, but it is my duty and my responsibility to tag some other YouTubers. So the first guy that I'm going to tag, the Canadian sensation, the Maple Leaf Mac Daddy himself, Roaming Dan. My friend, you have been tagged, and I know Dan likes a lot of different types of games. He likes strategy games and RPG games, so definitely looking forward to seeing his list. Along that same line, one of the guys that works his ass off on YouTube, and I always look forward to watching his videos, RPG Tour Guide, Ryan Phoenix, you have been tagged. What are some of those great games that you always beat? You've beaten all the time. You beat a lot when you were a kid. And sort of like Roaming Dan, RPG Tour Guide, his name would suggest, he's really into RPGs. Did a magnificent playthrough of Soul Blazer. Kind of made me want to go out and find that game and buy it and play it, because he just played through it fantastically. The last guy that we're going to tag, a friend of the channel, Sprooch Game Hunting. Sprooch Game Hunting, you have been tagged. And what's cool about Sprooch is, you know, he likes some of the same games that I do, but he sort of branches off a little bit more into the horror genre, first-person shooter type games, things like that, things that I wouldn't normally play. So Sprooch Game Hunting, you have been tagged, sir. What are some of those games that you beat all the time, that you've beaten the crap out of, or that you've beaten a lot currently? Guys, thank you so much for watching. That has been an awesome tag video. I love doing tag videos. I think it gets the community involved, and it lets my subscribers know about other channels, and other people's subscribers know about my channel. So it can only help the community. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.